we start this lesson, I would like you to consider a few questions. Have you ever fallen sick or seen someone sick? What were the things that you saw or felt that informed you of the sickness? I believe you wondered what caused the sickness, right? My name is Edward Asante Ekofu, and I am your presenter for this lesson. In this unit, we will be discussing answers to these questions. Now let's look at the objectives for this lesson. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to state to an appreciable extent the definition for diseases. Explain to an appreciable extent how diseases occur. Mention and distinguish between the types of diseases, that is, the pathogenic diseases and the non-pathogenic diseases. State the causes and prevention of non-pathogenic diseases. Now let's start off with diseases. A disease is a condition that occurs in the body of an organism, being it human or generally animals or in plants, which changes the normal functioning or activities of the cells or the tissues. A disease condition is accompanied by some signs and symptoms. Examples of diseases are malaria, cholera, and scurvy, which is gum bleeding. It is important to note that headache, fever, that is high body temperature, etc., are only symptoms of a number of diseases. Now let's look at general causes of diseases. Eating food or drinking water contaminated with disease-causing organism, or what you refer to as the pathogen, or breathing in air contaminated with pathogens. Lack of one or more nutrients in the diet or eating food poor in nutrition can also cause diseases. A disease may also be caused by a genetic disorder or abnormality in the inherited genes. Stress, which is a state of mental or emotional strain, is another cause of some diseases. Poor personal hygiene, poor environmental sanitation. These are all causes of diseases. Lack of regular exercise. These are all causes of diseases. Now let's move on to types of diseases. Diseases can be broadly grouped into two, that is, pathogenic diseases and non-pathogenic diseases. So let's start with pathogenic diseases or infectious diseases. Microorganisms that cause diseases are described as pathogens. Therefore, a pathogenic disease is a disease that is caused by a microorganism. When pathogens enter the body, they feed on nutrients and other materials and release toxins or poisons into the body. The individual becomes ill as a result. Pathogens or pathogenic organisms are usually grouped under bacteria, viruses, protozoa, and fungi. More often, pathogenic diseases can be transmitted, that is, passed on from an infected person to another person who may also suffer from the disease. A disease that can be transmitted from an infected person to another person is called an infectious disease. For example, cholera, malaria, tuberculosis, chickenpox, measles, etc. Now let's turn our attention to classes of pathogens. Microorganisms that cause disease can be grouped into bacteria, viruses, fungi, and protozoa. Disease caused by bacteria are described as bacterial diseases. Similarly, we have viral diseases, protozoan and fungal diseases. We shall look at the details in our next lesson. Now let's focus on non-pathogenic diseases, or what we refer to as the non-infectious diseases. A non-pathogenic disease is a disease that is not caused by a pathogen, but may arise due mainly to lack of one or more nutrients in the diet, that is, poor nutrition, or genetic disorder, we also have stress conditions. Diseases that are caused by lack of one or more nutrients in one's diet are called nutritional deficiency diseases. Typical example of a nutritional deficiency disease are scurvy, which is due to the lack of vitamin C, beriberi, which is due to the lack of vitamin B1, and night blindness, which is due to the lack of vitamin A. A genetic disease is a disease that arises as a result of changes or mutation or abnormality in one's DNA or sequence of genes. A genetic disease can occur suddenly in an individual. More often, a parent may transfer a defective gene to an offspring, that is a child, who may express the genetic disease. The offspring is said to have inherited that genetic disease or disorder. Examples of genetic diseases include hemophilia, red-green color blindness, sickle cell anemia. Stress conditions occur when one has tasks to perform and feels anxious about meeting deadlines or some set standards. The anxiety that arises puts the person under pressure or tension and may suffer some stress condition. Diseases that are experienced from stress conditions are high blood pressure, heart attacks, peptic ulcer, alcoholism. Now let's look at how to control non-pathogenic diseases. First, eating a balanced diet, that is a diet that contains all the 6 food nutrients in their right amount or proportions. Secondly, 2 persons who are carriers of defective genes should be advised not to marry. For example, 2 adults, a man and a woman, may carry the gene which causes sickle cell disease. If the 2 should marry, chances are that each of them would contribute one of the sickle cell gene to their offspring. The offspring would then suffer from the sickle cell disease. When they are advised through genetic counseling, the situation could be averted or prevented. Thirdly, stress conditions are usually managed. For example, one should not involve in too many things at a time, which will make him exert too much energy and feel too anxious of meeting deadlines. On your screen is a table that summarizes all that we have discussed in this lesson. So we started with disease, and we explained what diseases are. And we said diseases are grouped into 2. That is the infectious or pathogenic diseases and the non-infectious or the non-pathogenic diseases. For the infectious diseases, we saw that they are caused mainly by a number of organisms, such as bacteria. So diseases caused by bacteria are referred to as bacterial diseases. We have fungal diseases, we have viral diseases, and we have protozoan diseases. Now for the non-infectious or the non-pathogenic diseases, we said a disease condition may arise as a result of stress conditions or genetic diseases, which is passed on from parents to offsprings. Then nutritional deficiency diseases. Those are diseases caused by the lack of one or more nutrients in the diet of a person for a long time. Note that signs of a disease is what one, generally doctors, observe in a sick person and by which he diagnoses or establishes the type of disease the person might be suffering from. Examples are vomiting, rashes, swellings, and fever, which is high body temperature. Remember that a healthy mind lives in a healthy body. Stay healthy, keep learning. I will see you some other time. Have a wonderful day.